Welcome back to the Two Comma Club podcast. Today, Chris Davison and I are joined by Andrew Kroeze. Really excited about this episode. We got to chat a little bit beforehand about all the awesome stuff Andrew is up to these days. So, Andrew, if you would go so far as to share with our audience kind of what you got going on today and kind of how you fell into where you fell into business-wise, that'd be awesome.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for having me, John and Chris. I'll try to provide as much value as possible on this podcast here with you guys, and super excited for the questions and the conversation. To give people just a quick background on me, my origin story, I was super depressed from 21 years old to 24 years old. I was in now therapy, taking Wellbutrin, Lexapro, drank a crap ton. And then I read this poem called Invictus by William Ernest Henley. And the final two lines are, I'm master my fate, I'm captain my soul. And for some reason that day reading that, it sparked something in me where if I just put my mind to something, I could do anything and achieve it. And I set a goal to lose 20 pounds and to quit drinking in 90 days. And I remember day 45, I broke down and cried in the shower. First time I had cried in 6 years. Day 75, I looked at the scale at the YMCA and I was 21 pounds lighter. And then day 90, I put the final X through the calendar and I was 90 days sober. And that really kicked off my entrepreneur career because I was doing sales and I finally built confidence in myself to make the big leap. So I bought a Tai Lopez program back in 2017, where a lot of people have started.
Let's go.
Didn't get a client. Yeah, exactly. Probably a bunch of people in here were in his SMMA program, but didn't get a client, but it was like the turnkey to me becoming an entrepreneur. I got new friends, new people in the Facebook group community, met up with a couple of them. Got another coach, Dan Henry, helped me scale my agency, got my first client, that sort of stuff. And then I just kept buying courses, coaching programs, grew my agency to multiple six figures, and then launched a coaching business to help agency owners initially, grew that to six figures. And then I went the coaches coaching route that a lot of people talk shit about, but I think it's super beneficial to the ecosystem. Built that up to a team of 20, built my Facebook group up to 24,000 members, worked with some awesome people like Cole Gordon, who now runs a $40 million sales agency. We helped him launch his initial offer and his Facebook group. Eli Wild, who's Tony Robbins' number one salesperson. Jesslyn Noble, who runs an 8-figure real estate coaching company now and has a Facebook group of 50,000 members. And now today I sold that business in 2021, took a year off, went to Africa, went to Europe, went to Central America, just trying to find myself again. Launched, I was in a 2-year non-compete, launched like peak performance, brotherhood, sisterhood type deal. And then I went back into the business space this past year, mainly focused on YouTube, community funnel, and our maximization offer structure. So we help coaches go from 0 to 6 figures and then 6 figures to 7 figures now.
Nice, man. You get quite the journey there in a few years, man. That's pretty awesome.
Thank you so much, Chris. Yeah,
I
it's
love
been
that.
fun.
I love that. One of the things I do appreciate, I want to say off the rip, is your vulnerability, talking about your mental health struggles. I think that's huge. I think more people, than what statistics show have mental health struggles. And I don't think that should be a negative or a blight on things, but I just think it is what it is. And I think if more people are vulnerable and open about that, like you are, Andrew, which I really appreciate, I think that would be better versus people hiding and being embarrassed or ashamed and it continue to get worse. So thank you for being super honest about that, man, being vulnerable. I really appreciate that.
Thank you, man. Appreciate
Yeah.
the reflection.
Yeah. Yeah. One of the things I talk about, people talk about mindset, but man, I tell you what, if you're dealing with something that's an acute mental issue, man, you can't, you can't get into a successful or business mindset at all. I mean, what are some things that kind of helped you? I know that's just, if you don't mind sharing a little bit more on that, I hate to dive in, but I think that's critical because there's a lot of people, more than obviously our listeners admit, that the wrestle with mental illness. So.
Yeah, and it's interesting, especially being an entrepreneur. Like the best entrepreneurs can handle the most stress, take on the most stress because it's very difficult being an entrepreneur. And back when I was super depressed, I wouldn't be able to handle that stress. My mind would go all over the place, all of that. And I learned this framework over the past 3 years, especially when I went through a little bit of burnout in 2021 and had to go inwards and find the answers. But I think this framework will be super helpful for a lot of people out there that I share with my clients all the time. It's just how to reduce our cortisol stress response and increase the happy joy molecules. So it's just dose, DOSE. And the first one is dopamine. Dopamine is the pursuit of pleasure molecule. It's what creates our motivation and our focus. An easy way to reset our dopamine baseline, so we have more motivation and focus, is take out the cheap dopamine hits, the scrolling, the for guys pornography, any type, or Netflix, copious amount of Netflix. And meditation is a great way to lower our dopamine baseline,
Yeah.
because we're just sitting, being present in the moment without stimulation. So I meditate at least once per day. I went to Deer Park Monastery in Escondido, California, and meditated with monks for a week, which was awesome. Highly recommend it. Um, and the most important thing for entrepreneurs, constantly resetting that dopamine baseline for more motivation, more focus. Then we have O, which is oxytocin. That's a love connection chemical. And the best way to release more oxytocin is surrounding ourselves with people that light our soul on fire and removing people that don't. Stories of empathy, like I've been here, I've overcome this, releases a lot of oxytocin. We do this in marketing on sales pages and webinars, our origin story. We overcame this. It's
Yeah.
releasing oxytocin, creating that bond in the audience. And obviously, like cuddling, getting a pet, like that sort of stuff, a lot of oxytocin. Then S is serotonin.
Mm-hmm.
So I do breath work at least 2-3 times per day because it's
Mm-hmm.
the antidote to cortisol, reducing that stress response.
Yeah.
And when we're doing breath work and moving these organs around down in our belly, it releases a lot of serotonin. We're more present in the moment, happy, joy, calm. And then E, endorphins. So I work out for at least 15 minutes every single day to release a lot of endorphins. And then laughter, that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Watching something funny, being around funny people releases a lot of endorphins as well. And that will offset the cortisol, the stress response. So we're just more happy, calm in the moment, creative, driven, productive, all of that stuff.
I love that. Those sound like a lot of
Yeah.
amazing focuses to put on for like biohacking and things of that nature. Because I
Yeah.
mean, at the end of the day, whether we're talking about business, life, personal stuff, whatever, like your systems are going to be the extent of the potential that you reach, right? And so your body itself is a system. And it's really
Mhm.
important to have that dialed in and working properly so that way you can do the things you set out to do. I know, like for me myself, I did the 75 hard last year for the first time ever, first like attempted workout challenge type thing ever. And it was like the performance that came from doing that was beyond anything I had ever done because of all those things that you just referenced. And
Yeah.
I would like to know, like, what were some of the things that you put in your environment or took out of your environment to curate that kind of biohacking experience, if you will?
Yeah, initially, and great question. I love that you bring up 75 hard. That's a great thing to put in our environment and have a roadmap and have something to follow and a structure to do that. Um, the big thing that in 2017, I threw all the alcohol out of my house when I was committed to that. And then our inputs dictate our outputs. I didn't know this at the time, but I just got super obsessed with watching Damian Patrick videos on YouTube. And I grabbed a workout partner to help me work out. Um, and that released a shit ton of endorphins, which I didn't know at the time, where it helped offset the cortisol and I could handle more stress and I was thinking more clearly. Um, and those are the big things that I removed and added. I love the phrase addition by subtraction. Like, first, we need to remove, like, I removed the alcohol and people out of my life. Like, I would go to the gym when my friends were going to the bar Friday night and just replacing those activities. And now in my new place in Cabo, we got a sauna off Amazon, a cold plunge, red light therapy, massage gun, leg massagers. So, and they're all like optimized for me to see it every single day. So they're in my environment and I actually use them instead of being in a closet or something like that. So yeah, if we want to remove a habit or add a habit, removing a habit, just add friction to it. We don't want to watch TV or Netflix, take the TV off the wall and put it in the closet. We want to start a habit, put it in your environment so you're reminded every single day. And then another thing I want to add here, um, my dad in 2017 was recently diagnosed with type 2 diabetes and cancer. And my big like pain motivator driving me to make the change was I love my dad, but I don't want to get to 63 years old and be in those health problems. So that was what I was constantly reminded of when I was going to the gym, really tapping into that pain motivator.
That's good, man. I think that's, and sometimes good, Andrew. Obviously, we have internal things that cause us to want to do something different, but it's also, which I like better, is having external things. So I don't want to
Mhm.
suffer a whole lot, to be honest with you. But it is good to see family or friends and just give you some external reminders. And one of the things I piggyback all the things you talk about in dose for sure, and are part of my health journey. And one of the things I really jumped onto was yoga, hot yoga in particular. Man, I really love that. That's been like a game changer for me. And I go there, and all my buddies are like, "Oh, you just trying to check out chicks?" I assure you, that's not the case. I do it for me, but I really enjoy it, and I get a ton out of it. And it's just I feel a lot better. My body feels better as I
Yeah,
age. I just feel like I'm even younger than I was 10, 15 years ago. So once again, I don't want to
amazing.
piggyback a whole lot in your health journey, but that's awesome, man. I
Yeah,
really appreciate what you've been doing and how you're being really specific about that. So it says the
thanks,
world
man.
about you.
Yeah,
So
chicks are just a bonus. That's not the main thing.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I love it.
Looking at you, let's get back into business a little bit, if you don't mind sharing. Now that you kind of what you
Sure.
guys are doing. I follow you guys on social media. You guys are crushing it, I think, personally. But what's kind of where are you guys niche now? Obviously, I always a great book called Second Mountain. You kind of make your first mountain, you kind of crush it, and then you get into more purposeful things and what you want to do versus what you have to do for a paycheck. So, what are you guys
Mhm.
kind of niching in now as you're kind of hitting your second phase there of business?
If you want to save time on watching all the episodes, but still get all the gold nuggets that we find from interviewing these 7, 8, and 9-figure entrepreneurs, then you can get all of that inside of the 2 Comma Club newsletter. Just go to 2ccnewsletter.com and subscribe.
Yeah, thanks for the question, man. Back 2017 again, I read .com Secrets, and
Yeah.
there was just one line in that book that was take traffic that you don't own and move it to traffic that you do own. And back then, I hired a new coach to help me grow a Facebook group, and I got obsessed with moving people from traffic that I didn't know, groups and interviews and that sort of stuff to the Facebook group. And that's where it kicked everything off for me. Everybody else was teaching like ads to webinar to sale when I was teaching, no, grow a client getting Facebook group, grow that bad boy up. And that's why we had so many amazing results there. And it's the same thing to today, where there's a big trust recession going on right now, where ads to
Definitely.
VSL or webinar show up rates are tanking, all of that, where we've just doubled down on what we're really good at and added some other components. So the community funnel being number one, we have the Facebook group funnel and the school funnel optimized for getting clients, automated DM setters, that sort of stuff. And then YouTube has been, John and I were talking about this before we hopped on. YouTube has been absolutely incredible for us and our clients, where I tried to make it perfect back in the day and like video editing, we need the perfect thumbnails, that sort of stuff. When I started to switch over last year to just shooting on a Loom video with no edits and really shitty thumbnails, just taking a quick screenshot and having our book a call link and our community links in the description, that's when we started getting clients from YouTube. And it's crazy how the clients who join, it's weird how the YouTube clients act when they join because they see me as like this big celebrity on YouTube, and I'm like, I'm not that big. I'm just making shitty like Loom videos on here. But when somebody watches like YouTube video after YouTube video after YouTube video, they create this like incredible bond with you. Um, so we're doing that a lot. Our bread and butter though is like offer creation and messaging and that sort of stuff. And we have some pretty simple methodologies around that instead of going through these long messaging documents that we never use. Um, so we have two phases. So that's more around launch, and then we have leverage, which is 6 to 7 figures, all around systems and team, and adding more leverage to our companies. So that's basically what we're
That's
focused
awesome.
on right now. Yeah.
I love that. I really want to dive more into this YouTube stuff. It's really got me fascinated. You know, all of
You got
us
John started now, Andrew. So it's
yeah.
very
All of us content creators and individuals who are just trying to, you know, get in front of more people, serve more people, all that stuff. There's always the false beliefs that we have that, you know, things have to be perfect, or we have perfection syndrome, or whatever it's called, perfectionism. So
Yeah.
tell me about the experience that you had of shifting from that perspective of having everything perfect to just uploading, you know, the raw video, and also like what is it that you're doing different between the two? If you could kind of contrast them, that'd be awesome.
Yeah. I put up a video probably like 18 months ago that was around like our KPI system on Airtable that I developed. And it was a Facebook Live, shot really shitty. I think it was in like 36, 360, whatever that screen is. It's fuzzy as fuck,
Yeah.
is what I'm trying to say. But it got like 1,000 views in under a month, and I was like, "Wow, that's crazy for my first video." And then I created one shot video for our task management system just on Loom. Put that up, is 38,000 views right now, um, and that gets about 200 subscribers per month, which is great. And then after that, I really saw the power of YouTube in terms of taking traffic that I don't own to traffic that I do own. And now, whenever I come up with an idea, especially if it's around like AI or if it's around something on Airtable or a conversation I have with a client, I just put it in my system and shoot a quick video on it, whether it's just like face to camera or me sharing my screen with Loom, and I just take a crappy screenshot and post it up. Because I know if I go back to the system of like trying to get a video editor and waiting for those videos to come back and getting somebody to create the thumbnails, I wouldn't actually do it. Like we probably will get to that point in a year or so, but I would much rather do done is better than perfect. The clarity will come in the doing. Let's just get it out there first because success loves speed, and put it up there. So I hope that answers your question, inspires your audience to just like create a damn video and put it up on YouTube.
Amen to that. That's awesome.
and
Yeah.
John and I were just talking about this today. Is just people have ideas, and I got like a 4-step framework for how to generate ideas. But the fourth one, the most important one people never do, is to put it out there. Like we
Yeah.
think about it, it could be great, could be the best idea in the world, but if you don't put it out there, nobody's ever going to know, and you won't get any feedback to know what's working and not working. So that's one of my
Yeah.
things: just get it out there and see what's going on. Saying
Wait,
that, like, how are you helping or coaching people on that? I think people are really. I talked to a lot of folks, probably like you, super brilliant, have some measure of success, but they're just not putting stuff out there. Like, how are you helping them overcome that, or that fear, that perfectionism a little bit?
I mean, that was me too when I was starting my agency. I was like, I need to have business cards. I need to create this perfect website, all that stuff. And I years and years just like that. But the way we do it now is installing the principle that done is better than perfect. The clarity will come in the doing. Massive imperfect action is the way to success. We need to build up data points to make sure those dots align. We can't do that without the action. So we really install that hard. But the very first thing that we do in both our programs is get on a one-on-one call and nail down their offer inside of a single Google document. We find that to be the biggest thing that holds people back in business, is just not having clarity around their offer. Because if our offers suck and we're not aligned with them, it's like building a business on a foundation of sand instead of concrete. And that's what gets a lot of people to just waver and not take action. So we try to knock out those critical components within the first week so our clients can just take massive imperfect action and feel aligned with what they're selling.
That's
That's good.
awesome. I love that. So, talking about working with clients and things of that nature, I know a lot of things that a lot of entrepreneurs struggle with is kind of bridging the gap between where they get discovered to actually onboarding the clients as paid clients. And it's like the
Mhm.
bridge to get there looks like nurturing that audience. And so, what is it that you guys are currently doing to kind of build that relationship with people to get them to know, like, and trust you beforehand?
Yeah, our number one methodology is our DM hot list starting out. So we had a client, Jay Uday, that came in. He was doing about 15K, one scale past 50K. We had him set up his DM hot list. You basically take an inventory of all of the conversations you've had in the past, absolutely everything through DMs, through email, through phone number, that sort of stuff. Create a list that you optimize every single week, and you reach out to booking calls with that hot list initially. And he scaled from 15K to 50K the next month from taking these conversations that were going on and just focusing on the hottest ones to take a sniper approach instead of a shotgun approach. Because time
Mhm.
is what we want most, but what we use worse. And if we're focused on all the conversations, none of them are important. So we have our clients take out a sniper instead of a shotgun with those conversations, and we have processes and all of that stuff around how to have like the content, the conversations, and the calls, the three C's of how to do that. And uh, yeah, still organic. Facebook, Instagram, organic, and YouTube is kind of a longer term play. But it like my girlfriend launched a YouTube channel like 6 months ago. Her first video, she had somebody reach out to her WhatsApp number that was in the description. It had 20 views, and he was a seven-figure business owner in Mexico, and needed funnels, which is what she was talking about. And she signed that client when she had like 10 subscribers on YouTube.
That's
Um,
amazing.
yeah,
That's awesome. Well, I think you said, and this is what I back up a little bit, kind of piggyback on both you guys have shared. I think giving value away, connecting with people, and really find out what they need and giving value to them once you find out what they need is huge, you know. And like you said, taking that niche or that sniper approach is much more effective. I'd rather impact 10 people's lives radically than touch 100 lives, and that'd be all there is. So. Um, I guess with that being said, like I'm really a big believer. John knows I ask this question all the time about unique ability, which one your superpower, thing you're really good at, or you would do even the business if you're not doing the business. Like for you, what's one of your core things like you're really good at, and you want to continue to do and drive home for what you're doing in your world?
Uh, my top two values are community and connection. So I much rather have in-person connection. That's why we do 3 events per year. But also building the communities on Facebook and school and that sort of stuff. And really diving into creating the values, the mission, that sort of stuff around a community and how to connect deeply with them. Um, but dude, I love in person events. I'm going to be doing 3 per year at least until the day I die. We do them Friday through Sunday. I have a good network, so I bring like awesome people into these events. We have Marco Cortezi, who's the CEO of Seventh Level, 8-figure sales training company coming in. Jess
Yeah.
Lenovo, who's been my client for 6 years, 8-figure real estate business coming in to this one coming up in Cabo. But just the connection and the transformation that can happen over 3 days, Friday through Sunday, every single time, is what lights me up the most in business and in life.
Yeah, there's a lot to be said about
Oh yeah.
those in-person touch points and
Yeah.
events. Like you can make so much more of a genuine connection in person than you can, just by watching videos and things of that nature. And it's really a good nurturing sequence, right? And they say it takes about 7 hours or so for somebody to get to know, like, and trust you. And what better way to do that than in person over the course of a weekend? That's
Yeah,
amazing.
it just accelerates that process. And then also, we do live workshops every single week. another way to form community connection. And instead of those 7 touch points or having 10 conversations with them, a 90-minute workshop every single week just accelerates the nurturing process.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So a lot of what you've spoken about is something that I want to reiterate to the listeners, which is the idea of taking people from whatever platform they're finding you on and getting them added to your list, right? And so
Yeah.
how critically important that is, I've discovered personally as I've worked with certain clients myself, helping them with marketing things, launching offers, whatever. But then also like that is one of the through lines that I hear in every time that we have this interview for this podcast. So what I'd like to know is like, what are the things you're doing right now to be able to get people to go from wherever they're finding you to on your list?
Yeah, the highest quality has been doing workshops in front of other people's audiences. So we have a system where we do outreaches, and hey, we have our DM. The one that I mainly do is our DM sales workshop. So I have one presentation just fucking dialed in that provides a lot of value to their audience, and also they can add it to their course. And then we have a call to action at the end, and there are varying call to actions. One is like if the person who's hosting us just wants it to go to the free community, cool. We have a conversion mechanism that's a 7-day trial for our programs and that sort of stuff. That's a really good conversion mechanism that we're using. That's been driving the highest quality leads that are just hungry, ready to buy. And we just did 120 people in a group. We got 40 people into our school group. We just had 2 high ticket deals close this week with 8 more sales calls coming up just from one presentation. So that's been the highest quality. We're also running ads directly to our school group to just have continuous traffic going there. I don't recommend people start with ads like 0 to 10K. We have simple organic methodologies to build up capital, and then you can invest into ads, and you've got to nail down your messaging first. That's kind of our rule of thumb. Um, YouTube, freaking incredible for driving traffic. I had one client who said she was just looking up end of day reports, Airtable end of day reports. She found us, she joined our community, and then she booked in a call and ended up joining. She's one of those people with like the big eyes when she's on like coaching calls with me, like, oh my God. Um,
Everything you're saying is
and
amazing.
I'm eating it up. Um, and so ads, that sort of stuff. And what's cool about posting more content on Facebook or Instagram is that the platforms will show you in front of other people, like suggested people. So on Facebook organic, you'll have more friend requests coming your way, which is a lead. You're marketing to them over and over and over without having to pay for them, right? Or Instagram. And I'm not the master at Instagram, but the more we post on there, we get more leads coming in. So a lot of times it's just imperfect action, getting the message out there, and things will grow organically.
I like that. You know, here's one of the things which I love because I love connecting with people, and then obviously, like you said, you connect in different ways that you wouldn't even think would matter. Even down the road, if stuff becomes evergreen, people are reconnecting with you.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things I love talking about is, I mean, I think no person. I hate to use the word self-made. I hear that a lot. People tell me about myself. I go, look, I've screwed everything up. I am not. If it was up to me, I'd be a total failure. But I'm not self-made. Obviously, you offer coaching, but who's some people have helped you along your journey and kind of how they add value or give you some belief or some things you needed to get you going.
Yeah, I would not be here without other people. I'm not a big fan of that phrase self-made. Wouldn't be here without Ty Lopez getting me to convert on a webinar for $9.97 and connecting me with awesome people inside of his group. There was Dan Henry, also converted on a webinar with him. There was Johnny West back in the day that he was my first 10K coach for growing a Facebook group. There was Taki Moore, paid $30,000 for his mastermind. There was Scott Olford, paid $100,000 for his mastermind. Overall, I've invested about $600,000 into mentorships and masterminds. I just bought Dan Bolton's. I bought Cole Gordon's earlier last year. Eli Wild as well, who's one of my clients, but Eli Wild and Eli Sanchez on speaker training. I have a relationship coach. I have a Spanish coach. I have a salsa dancing coach. I just find it the easiest way to collapse time and accelerate our results is just like finding a coach and joining a community of people. Because during COVID, I wanted to learn guitar, and I got a guitar and nice tailor made one, brought it back to my apartment and downloaded an app to learn it. And then I went from uninformed optimism to informed pessimism. And then I kept trying and I got these freaking small hands. And I'm like, I'm never going to be able to do it with these small hands. And I hit Valley of Despair and I never got a coach. I never joined a community. So 5 years later, I don't know how to play guitar. So whenever I really want something, I just like get a coach and get a community around me.
We got a great guitar coach in one of our groups, so if you need one, let me know, man. He's awesome. So he's out of
Oh,
Spain. So
sweet. My guitar's in Miami, but it's coming here in about 2 weeks, so I'll hit you up
Well,
then.
there you go. We'll get you
we'll, we'll
connected.
we'll send you a link. Den's awesome. He'll
That's
get you
great.
squared away.
That's
Yeah.
great.
But you're right. I think it is the fast way to expedite things. And anything I've got any kind of value or traction in my life, or done any kind of things of significance, I can look back to a coach who either helped me expedite that process or just encouraged me and strengthened me to my resolve. So I totally agree with that. Sorry, John, I don't want to cut you off.
Oh, you're all good. So, I think there's one layer of that I want to iterate on a little bit, which is having the coach. Obviously, like you said, it fast tracks things. But I think that
Mhm.
one note that you said without saying was the idea that when you didn't have that coach there to hold you accountable, like it didn't come through. So if you could talk a little bit about the accountability aspect of having a coach and actually hitting your goals as a result of it, that'd be really cool.
Yeah. The very first thing, if you're a coach or aspiring coach out there, please, please, please do, if it's high ticket, have a one-on-one roadmap call with your clients so they're clear on the milestones to hit, exactly where to go, have video in there, exactly where to get support, all of that stuff. And like part programs, we have one-on-one Slack channels with me and the team, that sort of stuff. Weekly calls and monthly momentum calls, like having feedback loops of looking at our previous month, setting goals for our upcoming month, that sort of stuff. And in coaching, it's a two-way relationship too. Um, there's a there's a phrase that we say over and over and over again, and it only hurts when you're hiding. So we try to get it out there with our coaching clients, like don't hide. Like we're here to support and to help you. And like even if you're feeling down, even if things aren't working, like we're here as a coach to get you out of the valley of despair, so you can get to informed optimism and get to fulfillment and success. Um, and with coaching, I think the most important thing is just clear lines of communication and your clients knowing how and when and all of that stuff to get support. And telling them, don't do this, do that, which is a little bit more mentorship than it is coaching. But the communication is the key to accountability. So,
I agree with that 100%. I think that's one of the biggest challenges. You kind of hit on it is when you give advice to people, it's kind of hard and they haven't executed, or I haven't executed as well in the situations. I just go into my shell and that doesn't help, and avoidance doesn't help. And it's like the
yeah,
worst thing. It actually multiplies it in the negative versus the positive.
yeah,
So I 100% agree. And I appreciate that. And that is definitely
yeah.
for sure. And then, like you said as well, is one of the things John and I really do on the front end intake with people is, what's the result? What do you clearly want to get? And we can't meet everybody's result. I'm okay with that. If we can't meet your result, hey, here's somebody who can. Here's Andrew. He can help with what you're doing. And here's somebody else, because when we want the answer to your problem versus getting down the road several months and you aren't, they want their money back. They're not happy. You couldn't
Mhm.
fulfill. And we just want to set clear expectations, just like you on the front end, what we can and
Mhm.
can't do it. I just think people, and it's true, but they just see a paycheck and they're like, "Hey, you're just a dollar figure," and people
Mhm.
see through that so much. I think versus just being authentic and transparent on the front end, it just makes it so much easier.
Yeah.
That saying being said, I guess several things come to mind. What are you guys doing now for your, like, obviously we're in January. I love setting goals. I'm a big goal person in all areas of my life, but specifically, what's some goals you guys have set for you personally, for your company? What are you guys trying to hit this year coming up?
Yeah, our big thing is YouTube. I want to get past um, 10,000 subscribers this year. Like that's a leading indicator to the lagging indicator. Um, I I don't want to grow a nine-figure company. I think I am very different than a lot of people here, where I just really enjoy serving, helping, keeping the circle pretty small, and driving a lean team of A players. Because I've seen the back end of so many eight, nine-figure businesses and connected to the CEOs, and um, like a lot of them have turned into just business robots, which is fine, but I don't want that to be me. Our goal for this year is 3 million, 3 mil cash collected, which we did in Tribe of Buyers. So getting back to that marker, and developing the best damn coaching team on the planet. So I've got client success coaches, but I've also got talent bench. So that's people that help with offer and messaging, with systems, with sales, with copywriting, that sort of stuff. So really honing in on the fulfillment side of things.
That's awesome. I love that.
Yeah,
There's a lot to be said about the book that we talk about, who, not how, and things of
Mm-hmm.
that
yeah,
nature, and it's really powerful. So in your experience, what has it been like finding those A players and building relationships with them and getting them to be a part of the journey that you're going into, and how do you ultimately sell them on being a part of the team and bringing that A game every day?
great question. And I think this is what I see people going through the income roller coaster. They don't install leverage, and they don't have the right team members. So I'll give you a little story first. Back in 2019, 2000, end of 2018, 2019, I was doing well with my Facebook group. Like we made $500,000 in my first year. I didn't know how business was run. I was at like 95% profit because I was just providing shit ton of value to that group and slinging courses and coaching programs and that sort of stuff. And I burnt out hardcore. So I went to Deer Park Monastery for a week and realized I need to make some changes. So I'd been going through Project Nuclear with Scott Olford, his program, and they talked all about KPIs, team, that sort of stuff. And it finally started to sink in when I created some space. And I had a member from their team actually reach out to me in February of the following year and was like, "Hey, I love what you're about. I want to be a part of your team, that sort of stuff." It was like, it's going to be $5,000 a month for me to work on your team full time. And at that time, I didn't know how business was run. Like, I was profiting a lot and like super happy with it, but I was burning out. And I was like, $5,000 a month. That's a lot. Yada yada yada. I was like, I'll give it a chance. Hired him. Best thing that I ever did. His name's Avery Ford. He took over my fulfillment. He built out course videos. He was one-on-one touch points with clients, that sort of stuff. And then that worked so well that month. Hired a sales guy, hired a setter, that sort of stuff. And then we ended up tripling our business that year, and maintain super healthy profit margins because we weren't running ads or anything at that time. It was all organic. Um, and I realized when you join a bunch of these programs, there are a lot of awesome team members in these programs too. So I went down the rabbit hole in 2020, 2021, trying to do the whole like who thing with like the 4 interviews and the sending it out to every platform to get as many applications as possible, that sort of stuff. And we just got a lot of crappy applications. I found my best team members come through my network, and they come from just asking people, who do you know who fits this job description? I'll pay you out $1,000 if they stay for 90 days. Can you introduce them to me? And then also with team members, when you hire A players, they know other A players. So like our sales guy, we need a new setter. I'm like, Mason, who do you know who can take this rollover? Boom, he was able to hire that guy in 2 weeks. Um, really high quality dude named Cabe. So I think with hiring, especially 0 to 7 figures, like don't overcomplicate it. Hire A players, join a bunch of programs, ask your network, who do they know, and have really high standards of who's on your team. Like the old adage, hire slow, fire fast. I think the thing that sinks businesses the most is hire or holding on to people too long and setting them up for success. I tell all my clients, like, onboard fucking hard. Like, if you're their direct report, you should be meeting with them every single day for the first 2 weeks. Like, no questions asked. Like, OPW is your ultimate form of leverage, other people's work. I flew in my sales guy for 2 weeks here in Cabo to onboard him because that's the most important part. Onboard fucking hard. Make sure that they know their metrics, what they should hit in the first 14 days, first 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, and be there to support over and over and over when you're bringing on a new team member. So,
No,
yeah.
I totally agree with that. I think just to add, I mean, everything you said, I agree with 100%. The one thing I would add, and I'm sure it's already something you guys are doing, is, man, when you find good talent, hire it. If you have
Yeah.
somebody and you know it's going to be an upcoming need, it's an investment, but man, it makes a huge difference. It just takes that load because now you can take so much more on because you have that person ready to go versus getting them once you've done X, Y, and Z, and now you're backtracking. So I agree with everything you said, Andrew,
Yeah.
100%. So that's awesome. Um,
Yeah. Thank
uh,
you, man.
as we're getting into it, I want to look at a couple things. Obviously, as you grow, as kind of things happen, what is some of the resistance you guys have had? Obviously, you said you talked a little bit about some of the things and some of the goals you want to do. What's some of the resistance you're having now as you're kind of changing gears and wanting to grow your business?
It's interesting. I think there are things that pop up that I question in my mind where I'm like, okay, is that truth or is that a limiting belief?
Mm,
Like is like still at this level, I think it's just the human condition of like to get to the next level. If we want to grow, these other limiting beliefs come up, and I'm
mm,
constantly asking like what do I need to shed, what do I believe? Like I brought up earlier, I don't want to build a 9-figure company. Is that a limiting belief or is that like true to me? I've done some discovery around that and I feel like that's pretty true, but I don't know exactly for sure. um, I think any type of growth in business comes down to the limiting beliefs of the CEO and me for our company to ultimately grow. So I think that's always the limiter, and why I like to surround myself with awesome high level people. So I'm like, oh my god, it is possible. Oh, I am like being a little turd right now. Like I can do so much more.
yeah.
Um, yeah, I don't know if that exactly answers your question, but that's kind of what's been going through my mind right now, like
No,
finding the
I mean, talk about resistance. That's definitely it. I think mindset's like you tell me, but in sports business, it's 90% of the battle is mindset.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And there's a good book, Who or Not Who Not How. It's all around willpower doesn't work, and
Yeah,
setting up our
yeah,
environments to optimize our mindset and our skill sets and how we're
that's a good
growing.
book.
Um, so yeah, I think about mindset, but how can I expedite my growth of my mindset is by changing the environments that I'm in. That's why I went to Deer Park Monastery for a week or Shivananda Ashram for a month because I was so much in masculine mode for so long. I was like, okay, I need to pull this plant up and put myself where I can be in the feminine, the surrender, the relax, the let go, and see another part of life to drive in more balance into my life. Or like, cool, I'm in a business season, I need to grow. Let me hire this coach. Let me get around this community to move this plant over to more fertile soil. So I think it's mindset 100%, but to expedite that growth of the mindset, it comes down to the environments that we're in.
I
I
totally
love
agree with
that.
that. I've been to
Yeah.
went to Joshua Tree National Park last couple of years, spent a week out in the desert, and just got quiet, got alone with God, and it does change you in a way that is positive for sure, but also you get to see what's going on inside of you and your world, and then you see what's really important. So I piggyback on what you're saying. It's good to get away and to reflect for sure. So sorry, John, I didn't mean to interrupt
Oh
you.
no, you're good. You're good.
Yeah.
I think that this talk about environment is one of the most underrated things that people need to really focus on is building that in the right way to align with the goals and habits that they want to have ultimately because you you're a combination of the 5 people that you spend the most time with, but then beyond that, like you talked about just the simple thing of moving the TV. My girlfriend and I talk about that all the time right now. We go back and forth on the idea and stuff, but where we've landed is we've just moved the treadmill into the room with the TV, so that way we can like walk and do it at the same time. So what would you say is kind of like the top three things that you would put in your environment to get to the level that you're at right now?
I mean, number one is always people. So I think the reason why people don't take these actions is because they're in the wrong environment, but also when you're shifting and changing the people that you surround yourself with, you go through a period of loneliness, and people want to avoid that. And like I wanted to avoid that for so long. And when I set the goal to lose 20 pounds and to quit drinking, I lost a lot of friends. A lot of them were drinking buddies. I was
Yeah.
super fucking lonely for like 3 to 6 months. And then I started joining programs, joining Facebook groups, that sort of stuff. And then going to conferences and surrounding myself with new people. And then that was an upward spiral from there. But I had to go through that like lonely period, which was really empowering too. I got to go deeper into myself. So optimizing environment, like number one is like the people, the conversations that we're having, who we spend the majority of our time with. But then I would say number two is the gym. If we can live by a gym and make it super easy to go, to work out, to move our body, to get out of the head and back into the body, to be more creative, um, that's huge. If we don't have a gym nearby, I just bought some free weights at Costco, so I have like things in my environment to be able to move my body, release those endorphins, and work out. Um, and then I would say number three is um, our laptop and phone environment, putting blockers on the things that we don't want to do, and optimizing our Google Chrome and extensions to go to the things that we do want to do as fast as possible. I built out 4 different systems: Business OS, Human OS, Financial OS, and Relationship OS, all on top of Airtable. So I've optimized my systems to go exactly to where I want to go on top of those systems to see my net worth and the money coming in, which it's the financial OS is directly linked to my bank accounts, my crypto accounts, my investment accounts, all of that stuff. Or business going straight to the tasks, the KPIs, the client fulfillment, all of that stuff. So I would say number three is optimizing like our work environment, the screens that we look into every single day. So I would say people, gym, and work environment.
I
Awesome.
love that.
Awesome. Man, I've got a ton of nuggets out of the day. I really appreciate. I just realized how genuine and authentic you are, Andrew. I don't think you're perfect and polished, and that's all
No.
right. I think being genuine and authentic is like a ton more. We talked to a lot of folks. I really enjoyed your heart and you sharing things, and especially where you came from to where you are now. And if people want to learn more or kind of gravitate or connect with you, how can they get a hold of you? How can they reach out to you?
Yeah, I'll give you guys a link to our 7-figure coach collective school community. That would be the best place. We've got a bunch of free courses on my story, on sales, on offer creation, on DM sales, on YouTube. I got one in there on breath work. The community's awesome. We have like 3,500 people in there right now. And then you have a direct link to message me inside school. Just tell me your favorite thing about this podcast and we can start there. That would be the best place for sure.
I love
Awesome.
that. I appreciate your time today, Andrew. This has been a blast, and I'm really excited to release this episode. All of the environmental things and the mindset and everything around that is just, it really to me is the key to success. And I think you highlighted a lot of really good points and gave a lot of great frameworks today for people to be able to follow and implement into their lives. So thank you so much for your time today. Appreciate it.
Yeah, Chris, John, thank you guys so much. This was awesome.
Appreciate you, Andrew.